everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katie, and I'm a flute player who does video game, anime, and TV film covers, as well as a Twitch streamer. I stream video games such as Breath of the Wild, and I do bingos for that, Nier Automata, and Replicant, and some other games with my audience. If that sounds like that would interest you, I'll leave a link in the description below. Today, we'll be doing a reaction to Lizzo Can Play the Flute While Twerking. As a flute player, I constantly get asked if I follow Lizzo as a musician, and unfortunately, I can't say that I do. I don't really listen to kind of the mainstream or the hip hop rap that she kind of does. But as a flute player, I do know that she is classically trained. And when someone in my audience sent me this, I definitely had to check it out, because as a flute player, I know that trying to do anything while playing can be very challenging. So why don't we dive into this? This is from the Jonathan Ross show, and this was back in 2019. So this shows you just how far behind the times I actually am.
Well, let's bring out Sasha. This is Sasha the Flute.
Sasha the Flute, yes. I do know that she's named her flute Sasha.
You know, Sasha, she gonna post this on her Instagram because she's a cocky little biatch.
Okay.
I do not name my flutes. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I should. If you have a good name for my flute, why don't you drop it in the comments below.
Which end do you use?
That's what she said.
I love her sense of humor. I love a good "that's what she said" joke. If you've watched any of my Breath of the Wild clip videos, which I will leave a link to the playlist up here, definitely check it out, because we make a lot of "that's what she said" jokes.
I played in 4th grade.
Oh, can you play that?
I used to play the recorder. I was a recautist.
Okay, guys.
I don't think recautist is the proper term for a recorder player, but yeah, it's very common for students in grade school to play the recorder first to kind of get them familiar with music and actually playing an instrument. I know I played the recorder in 4th grade before I picked up flute in 5th.
All right, flutes up, everybody.
Flutes up.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, looks like Lizzo's giving a slight flute lesson.
Nothing, you're still playing C sharp, so.
Yes, that is true. If you hold nothing, it plays C sharp. And while that seems easy, you're like, oh yeah, no fingers, it makes that easy to play. Actually, C sharp is one of the most out of tune notes on the flute, so it can be challenging to play to get it to play in tune. Oops.
The dog just came.
Dylan the villain, y'all. Okay. Oh, that's terrible.
How do you
gotta
blow
be
it?
gentle. You gotta
Okay. Well, let's do flute lesson with Katie. I am a certified kinder flute teacher, so I specialize in teaching kids as young as 5 how to play the flute. So this is stuff that I deal with on the regular. So let's back this up a little bit and kind of critique this. So already we can see that he's really distorting and trying to make his upper lip really long. And he's really, really tight in the lips. For a flute embouchure, you don't want that much tension. Doing this is what is happening is it's making the hole in your mouth, like the hole, way too open. You're never going to get a good flute sound that way, because when you play the flute, the airstream has to be very, very directed in order to make any type of sound.
How do you blow it?
Gentle. You gotta push your lips together.
And you can see that he's trying to cover his teeth with his lips. I like to call that the grandma embouchure. When you try to do this, and I have these fun names because, again, I teach small children, but it really does help drive the point that these particular embouchures are not good for flute playing. You don't want to cover your teeth with your lips, because again, you're adding so much tension to your face, and what ends up happening is that you're making the hole way too big for the air to come out, and the air will come out, but it's not going to be directed enough to actually get a sound on the flute.
And blow.
How do you
You gotta
blow
be
it?
gentle. You gotta push your lips together and blow.
Okay, so what she said is you got to put your lips together and blow. That's kind of true and kind of not. Now, again, she's on a talk show. She's not actually trying to get him to play anything, but I think it's worth talking about. So you do kind of put your lips together, and I like to tell my students that you want to pinch you kind of want to glue the sides of your lips together, and that'll help keep them from having the opening be too big to play. My students typically spend the first 2 or 3 lessons just on the head joint, just getting a consistent sound. But what you really want is, I like to call grumpy cat, where it's a very neutral face for the most part. And with that, with a puh, by going puh, it opens your lips just enough and in just the right shape for you to get the airstream that you need to actually play. And now, granted, everyone's mouth shape is a little bit different, so there's definitely some fine-tuning that needs to happen. But in general, that works for most people.
You got it?
Okay, so let's go back and examine this a little bit more. So you can see that his lips are pushed out, and he's puffed out his cheeks as well. And you can just see how big this hole is. And that's just way too big of an opening for the air to hit the flute in the right way to actually make a sound. A great way to try to do this is, I don't know if anyone did this when they're little, this might be showing my age, but soda used to come in glass bottles, and that's a great way to try to start doing it. Another great tip to try to get a sound on the flute is by spitting rice. Put a couple kernels of rice in your mouth and try to spit them out one at a time, and that usually gives you a pretty good starting point for your flute. But this one, his is just all wrong. He's doomed to fail with this embouchure.
Okay, you guys, all right, y'all ready to play?
And then he's trying to roll the head joint back even further, and that is just not going to get you a sound at all. You don't want to be covering too much of that hole. The flute is a very inefficient instrument because you do kind of blow some of the air out of the flute before it even gets in the tube to actually make sound. So, yeah.
You ready?
Mate, this is broken.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, that's what they all say. It's true. I definitely have had students who were struggling to get a sound. I think there's something wrong with my flute. And I think it's just kind of human nature. You're just like, oh yeah, there's totally something wrong with my instrument. And it's like, usually you just need to fine tune things a little bit. And I'm always trying to reassure them that, hey, we'll keep trying at it. And I haven't had a flute student not be able to do it eventually, so.
I played that bit.
You got that?
Hey, but hold it. I can't even.
Beautiful recorder playing. Beautiful.
I mean, wait,
don't do that.
I need to clean it out of all the spit.
Okay, so I don't run into this too much with my flute, but definitely with my piccolo, because of how small it is, it definitely does get lodged with spit. It was especially bad during marching season when you're constantly playing for hours on end. Yeah, you'd have a lot of people shaking their instrument trying to get the spit out. We would have what's called spit bubbles, where like spit would kind of cover the hole. So you try to go to play like B flat, for example, and it would come out as an A because the hole was completely just clogged with spit. It's not pretty. It's one of the downsides of playing a wind instrument. It's not as bad as like a brass instrument where they have literal spit valves to get their spit out. But yeah, it definitely happens in the smaller instruments.
Okay, good. Would you play us a little something? What could you play us a little demonstration?
Lizzo! Okay, I was not expecting her to pull out the Doppler Hungarian Pastoral. This right here just goes to show her classical training. She's never going to play that in any of her music. Now, I would love to be proven wrong. If she can, like, insert classical music into, like, sample it a little bit in her music, it would make me love her even more. But the fact that she just started playing that out of nowhere just shows how much classical training she's had and how familiar she is with the classical repertoire. I did not go to music school, but I do have a flute teacher who is classically training me on flute. And yeah, so I don't think I've played this piece, or if I have, it's been a couple of years. So yeah, Lizzo. again, just showing that she has such a broad range in her musical talents.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Lizzo, that's amazing.
I'm normally way better. I'm kind of nervous.
She's kind of okay, way better, and she's kind of nervous. I mean, I can believe it. Like when you're playing something off the cuff like that. I think the song is technically a little bit slower, but again, she played it from memory off the cuff. Lizzo, you did fine. It was fantastic. And again, I wouldn't have been able to pull that out of nowhere. I probably would have ended up playing like the Legend of Zelda theme, because if I'm just like fiddling around and I'm like out somewhere and someone's like, oh, play something, I usually pull out the Legend of Zelda theme song. So already we can see that he's really... Oh my god. Okay. So this was the main event that we... I'm so glad I saw this. That was fantastic. Well, first off, we all know Lizzo knows how to move her body. She is a fantastic entertainer from the little bits that I have seen of her. She's a fantastic entertainer. And the fact that she can play the flute while twerking is... It's mind-boggling, because the flute is so temperamental that, you know, any minor movements of the flute, like when it's up to your face, can really affect the sound. So the fact that she's like literally twerking and is still producing a beautiful flute sound is just a testament to like how amazing she is. Because let me tell, first off, I can't twerk, but even if I could, I don't know if I'd be able to do it while playing the flute. It's just extremely difficult to do. And okay, we have to watch it again. We have to watch it again.
I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be, don't be.
I'll give you a little.
So the fact that like she is able to keep her upper body still and in a position that is conducive for her playing while gyrating the lower half of her body. Amazing. Utterly amazing. I'm in awe. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like this kind of content, please leave a link in the please leave a comment below and something that you want me to react to. I love finding little gems like this because I did not know that this existed, and I'm so glad it was sent to me. If you're interested in my music, I will leave a link in the cards above to all of my cover songs here on YouTube. As well, again, in the description, you can find my Spotify and all my streaming services where you can find my music. There's more on my streaming services than I do YouTube videos at the moment. But yeah, if you like video games and covers and you think that there should be more flute in video games, definitely check out my stuff there. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.